Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video, and Crown is so overrated. I don't know what people are talking about. No, I'm just kidding. Crown is cracked. She looks amazing. She is hands down the best Burst 2 Pilgrim, and probably one of the best Burst 2s in the game in general. So, we already knew some basics about her, but we'll just review them really quick. She is a Burst 2 Defender with a machine gun, code Iron. Matching my girl Snow White there, which is nice to see if you want to make a fun little all-iron team. She's got a standard like ammo capacity, reload speed, stuff like that. There is something unique over here. It says, senses enemies that cannot be auto-targeted and deals 200% damage when attacking core. Okay, so the core damage is fine, but the senses enemies when cannot be auto-targeted. So I'm not sure exactly what that means. Like, it could be like when enemies go behind cover. Sometimes like enemies will get stuck back there and then your nikkes will just stop shooting. That might be something where like she can sense them and she'll shoot through the cover anyway, even if they're not visible. Or maybe if there's just parts that wouldn't normally be auto-targeted in boss battles where you see your nikkes stop shooting. Maybe she's just going to keep shooting at these things all the time. But I don't know exactly what that means, but that's kind of my guess. Now, for skill 1, it says it is called One for All, activates at the beginning of full burst, affects all allies who previously cast their burst skill. Now, I don't think this means just a burst 1. I think it means anybody who's cast their burst skill ever, right? So if you have another burst 3 that is bursting, on the next time, so this will only affect the burst 1 before her the first time, right? But then by the time you're going through your second burst skill, then it's going to affect the burst 3 and so on and so on. You just have to have like cast it at some point in the past is how I read that. The attack goes up by 64% of caster's attack for 15 seconds. That is massive. So now it is only of caster's attack, not final attack, and she is a defender. I always talk about this. Base defenders have a very low attack, and so that's not actually that big of an attack buff, except it still kind of is, because 64% is a big percentage and it lasts for 15 seconds. That is a crazy boost. I mean, we have like leader's burst, or leader's attack buff only lasts for 5 seconds. We have some that last for 10 seconds, but Crown is lasting for 15 seconds. That's going to be a lot of extra damage coming from a 64% attack buff. Not only that, she also increases reload speed by 44% for the same 15 seconds. So she's going to be putting out massive damage for all of your allies. This is an extremely good skill. But we're not done yet. Affects all allies who did not previously cast their burst skill. Defense goes up by 37% 15 seconds, and then also increases reload speed by 44%. So any allies that aren't in the burst cycle ever, or they haven't had a chance to burst previously, they're going to get a defense buff instead of an attack buff. That's not so great, but at least they're getting something until they have to burst. But that really, really strong effect is from the first part, which is pretty amazing. Now, skill 2 is called Royal Attire. It's another passive that activates after landing 43 normal attacks. Or sorry, just after 43 normal attacks. You don't have to have hit them. And it affects self. It gives her a status effect Relax, which means HP potency goes up by 4% continuously and stacks up to 20 times. Okay, now remember, HP potency is not healing herself or increasing max HP or something like that. It means that it makes heals more powerful. So whenever she's healed, it'll be 4% more effective, basically. And then it says activates when Relax is fully stacked, and then affects self after the stacks are removed. She becomes invulnerable for 5 seconds, taunts all enemies for 5 seconds, and recovers 5% of caster's final max HP as HP. Wow. So, like, taunt can be useful, and the fact that she's going to be invulnerable for the whole time she's taunting, that's really, really good. And then she's going to heal herself, which will also trigger the previous, well, it won't trigger it, but she'll get a stronger heal because of that HP potency having stacked 20 times, right? Now, the thing about this is it doesn't show any like time limit on this relax effect, and it only happens when the stacks are removed. So I don't know if this is a typo here, or there would need to be some kind of effect from the enemies that will actually remove the buffs from you. Or like if she gets knocked out and then is revived and she comes back without the effects. Well, that probably wouldn't even work because, she won't be able to trigger the effect then, obviously. So I don't know exactly how this will get triggered because, again, it says the stacks have to be removed. So keep that in mind. I'm not entirely sure how much this will actually ever come into play, to be honest. But there's also an additional effect. Activates when recovery takes effect, affects all allies. Attack damage goes up by 20% for 7 seconds. Now, this does not rely on her self-healing, okay? Because it can be when anybody heals her, because just when recovery takes effect. So she doesn't have to rely on her own recovery from the stacks being removed. And then it says attack damage goes up by 20% for 7 seconds. Now, this is insane. Attack damage is an even better buff than just attack. So this will really increase damage by a huge amount, and it's all allies. Combined with the attack buff that she's giving to everyone who has burst, this is going to be pretty insane. Now, granted, this one only lasts 7 seconds. 15 seconds would be just like maybe the best nikke ever. Probably not, actually, but I'm hyped for her, okay? But attack damage up by 20% is going to be a huge, huge, huge damage buff. And her burst is a 20-second cooldown. That's fantastic. Of course, we want to see that. That means we can make her our only burst too. And then affects allies. Attack damage goes up by 36% for 15 seconds. All right, this is insane. So this is an even stronger attack damage buff, and it lasts twice as long. So you're looking for your 15-second effect there. Well, we got it in her burst. And then it also creates a shield equal to 10% of the caster's final max HP for 15 seconds on all allies. So shields are super, super useful. It allows you to ignore some like boss effects, like, giant projectiles that just hit everybody one time. That is going to be extremely good. That's a really, really, really strong burst skill right there. I mean, it's both defense and offense, and they're both really useful forms of offense and defense. And they're universal, so it affects your entire team. You're not restricted to one type of unit or only a certain number of units. That's amazing. Crown is looking to be an extremely strong unit. I hope you have your gold tickets ready. She's definitely seems to be a worthy unit for getting multiple copies of, because remember, like, her attack buffs are going to be based off of base attacks. So the more copies you have, the more stats she's going to have, the more you can increase her affection level. She's going to get even more stats and so on. So I would definitely recommend getting duplicates of her if possible. Of course, the pull rate is going to be bad because she is a pilgrim, but hopefully you've been listening in my earlier videos and you've been holding those gold tickets to get more copies of her because she looks really, really strong. The only thing that seems kind of weird, that is maybe not so great, is the first part of that second effect, where it says after relax is fully stacked, if the stacks are removed, then she gains taunt, invulnerable, and recovers max HP. So, taunt is really, really good in arena. An effect that would be even better because of the invulnerability, but I just don't know how we're going to get that triggered. So, I don't know how often that's going to come into play, but everything else about her looks incredible. All right, let me know in the comments below if you're planning to pull her, if you're ready for the gold tickets. Let me know how many gold tickets you have. I'll pin the top comment with the most gold tickets that the person has collected. No cheating, okay? Don't lie. That spoils the fun. All right, I will catch you guys in the next video or stream. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you later.